This is my review of Jujutsu Kaisen, episode 23. We open and we see a cavern with these fleshy protrusions coming out. The air is covered in the steam or fog, so it's kind of hindering the vision. There's connective shit between the ground and the floor. It's clearly the domain of the fucking bridge curse. Immediately we jump into the fight between the fucking green curse that I said looked like Gurren Lagann, and then it's spitting blood at Itadori, and Itadori's dodging it. And immediately we get kind of like a weird movement with Itadori where he kind of does some kind of a roll and just looked odd, but it's nothing serious. And then Itadori's like spinning like this way, and then they cut and he's somehow spinning this way and lands a big right kick. And that sends the thing flying, ending their first kind of spot. They fight some more. Itadori does this move where he's like jumps in the air and grabs the curse and spins it around and slams it on the ground, and then he kicks it. He gets back on it, he kicks it again, and then he starts punching it repeatedly, but it just grabs him, and it's not, his punches aren't really doing much to it. And finally he caught Itadori and says, "Got you." And then he like spins around and comes in behind it after it's grabbing him and kicks it in the back. I was wondering why he wasn't using any techniques. He wasn't using Black Flash. He wasn't even using his fucking Divergent Fist. So like, what is he doing? Itadori looks back at the blood, and it's kind of like making a hissing sound, and he wonders if the blood is poisoned. Seems to me it might just be corrosive. Acidic blood would be kind of generic, but that's my only thought, is like if it gets on his skin, it might eat his skin away. I don't know. And then the curse kind of is like, oh damn, it's a shame you're strong, because it likes to hurt weak people, I guess. And then we cut to Nobara, and she's fighting the little Diglett curse. It's, you know, screaming, and she's hitting nails into it, and she's smashes one with her hammer and stuff, and then Fushiguro shows up and he's cutting him up with the sword that he was using against Tanami. And they're just destroying a bunch of these curses and stuff. They think the main curse body must be weak, and that's why he's using all of these little things. But then Nobara is grabbed from outside the domain, and she starts getting pulled out of the domain. Fushiguro tries to grab her, but she just tells him not to worry about her and just to worry about the curse that's in front of him. And then he kind of makes reference to the fact this happens a lot. She's pulled away from him an awful lot. And this made me remember episode 4. Where did all those fucking curses come from she was fighting in the prison? Because she was fighting like heads of babies and all kinds of different shit. What was all that? Where did it all come from? Did Mahito create all that? We know that they planted the finger in the curse, but god damn it, where did all those things come from, bro? Never found out why she was fighting all of those fucking curses. The green curse runs out of the domain after Nobara saying that it feels its brother's presence. So this new curse is brother with the old one, and Itadori kind of runs after it, and then Fushiguro tells Itadori to go out of the domain to help Nobara and stop the curse. He agrees to and tells Fushiguro to run away if he's in trouble. And then we see the new curse that's pulling Nobara out of the domain, and it's like red and it's somewhat humanoid. And as it pulls Nobara out, it kind of holds her above it, and then she like spins and gets free of it, and then hits 2 nails toward it, and it just like contorts his body like that to dodge them. And then the curse says something like, "Oh, a woman, excuse me," or something like that, to signify that it has manners, and it kind of has like a pretty thing going on with its face. And Itadori and the Green Curse are out of the domain, so why aren't they here? My only guess is that just because you leave the same part of a domain doesn't mean that you come out in the same area. I don't know. In that case, Itadori and this curse should be in two completely different areas, which it doesn't seem like is the case later on. So the curse basically says that they weren't sent to fight any Jujutsu sorcerers, so if she chooses to withdraw, it won't pursue her. And she kind of questions what its task was, and it says that it should know because they have the exact same task. And she kind of wonders if this is actually a cursed spirit or if this is a curse user. And then we cut back to Fushiguro, and he's still killing the little diglets. He uses demon dogs to kill the final one in kind of a fake out. I didn't really care. And then as Fushiguro is like thinking to himself that it's over, we start hearing like a dripping noise. And at first my thought was, oh shit, maybe he got attacked by something and like he's gonna be missing an arm, you know, and we zoom out, or something's drooling over him about to attack him. But no, there's just another bigger protrusion and it's just dripping stuff. And then Fushiguro begins to wonder, just like I did, why this curse was only affecting people now. You know, if his sister fell into a coma a long time ago, why is it only killing people now? And kind of questions all of the things that have been going on. And then we see the curse stand up, and it's the same exact curse that was in the prison. Same look of the cursed spirit from the prison. And then we have the red cursed spirits say that they're looking for another Sakuna's fingers. They're sent there to retrieve a finger of Sakuna. And so this is that's how we know this is the exact same thing as the prison fucking special grade curse, because it looks the exact same. And I guess that just means that if any low-level curse eats one of his fingers, it will become this thing. This is the form it would take. And Fushiguro says that the finger was somehow suppressing its power. And that's why they couldn't feel it until now. And then the curse spits something out into its hand, and then it pulls a part of that back and uses it like a slingshot. It fires, and Fushiguro tries to block with his sword, and it just breaks right through it. Sends him flying back. The curse throws a punch at Fushiguro, but he uses a demon dog to grab him and move him out of the way, and he gets ready to fucking use Nue, and then it's immediately right in front of him, ready to hit him. He flashes back and remembers some of his training with Gojo, and Gojo kind of tells Fushiguro that he's subconsciously holding himself back. He can't try his hardest because he doesn't... For some reason, he won't allow himself to. And he uses the example that during the baseball game, he opted to go for a bunt rather than going for a home run, whereas him and Itadori would always do that. And finally, he tells him that it's fine to rely on people, but if you die, then it doesn't matter. You relying on other people doesn't matter if you die, so you should always try your hardest, basically. And he also tells him that there's a difference between dying to win and risking death to win. Basically saying that you don't have to die just to defeat your enemy. We come back. He's up against the wall. There's blood all over the wall from the back of his head. He reveals that he was knocked out for a few seconds. And then he gets ready to use a technique. But he stops, and then the fucking cursed spirit, or well, special grade curse jumps back. I'm getting all fucked up and confused. And he remembers Sakuna's praise about how he has so much more potential than he utilizes, and he kind of smiles and he says, "Screw it," and he gets up, and it looks like he's no longer suppressing his emotions as he's emoting now, and his voice changes. It's no longer just neutralized, you know. He's letting himself go, basically. And he starts kind of talking about it doesn't matter the shape right now, I just need to unleash all of my shadow at once. So he's trying to release all of his power in one time. He starts fucking smiling a lot and laughing and stuff like a psychopath. And he uses domain expansion, and he calls it Chimera Shadow Garden, and basically that means that the whole domain is now his shadow, and he can just create stuff from wherever and use it whatever. Now he's maniacal and laughing like Sakuna or Mahito did when fucking Junpei died. The special grade curse looks down, and the frogs are like forming from the ground and climbing up its leg. It gets ready to attack them, and then Fushiguro immediately is there and kicks it in the face. He hits it a few more times, and then the fucking frogs are climbing its leg again. It falls down. Fushiguro comes in with a double knee, hitting it. And then it shoots Fushiguro, tries to block with his hand. It goes through his hand and his head. And it's revealed that that was a shadow. And then the Nue bird starts hitting him, but there's a bunch of them, and they're hitting him all over, shocking the shit out of him. And it's just getting completely fucked up. It blasts away the domain by a huge release of energy, which is surprising, but then Demon Dogs just punches right through its chest, grabbing the finger. And Fushiguro reveals that if it was able to cut through Hanami, then punching through this thing when it wasn't ready was not difficult at all. And then the fucking bridge curses, domain crumbles. And then we got Sakuna. And Sakuna says, "Good, very good," in response to Fushiguro's growth. And I'm starting to wonder, does he want Fushiguro as a host? Because, you know, he wasn't interested, I've said this before, he wasn't interested in fighting Gojo, who is really strong. So he's not interested in fighting a strong opponent. He's not interested in being, you know, Itadori being his host. He doesn't care about Itadori. The only person he's shown an interest in is Fushiguro. And I'm wondering if, at first you'd think, well, he would just wants to fight him. But no, I think actually he might want Fushiguro as his host. I don't know how the whole thing works yet with that fucking Sakuna sharing a body. But that's the only thing I can think right now. So Fushiguro pukes, and then he kind of passes out. We get a flashback. We see the moment where Fushiguro was fighting the assholes at the school. He's on a pile of them sitting down. We see a thing with some of the students that they pick on. Talking back to them finally, standing up to them. Fushiguro's sister says that he promised not to fight anymore. And Fushiguro kind of says, well, he hates bad people, and he hates good people who would forgive bad people. And so he tells his sister that he finds her disgusting. And then she throws strawberry milk at his head, and it hits him, and she says, oh, I didn't mean for that to open. He reveals her backstory, which is that their parents came together and then left them both behind, and that's how they met. Gojo finds them and offers to take them to the Jujutsu Academy, where it reveals that his father had some connection to the Zenians, and he basically sold Fushiguro to the Zenians for money. And he was pissed off with that, and he didn't like his sister because his sister, I think he said, felt sympathy for bad people or something. I can't quite remember what he was talking about. But shortly after the moment where she throws the fucking milk at his head is when she goes on the bridge and then she falls into the coma. Around that time. And he kind of remarks that this bridge curse that only was killing people recently is not the reason that she's in a coma. So I was right, they aren't really connected at all. And finally, Friedel Shigoro completely loses consciousness, and both Nobara and the cursed spirit that she's fighting, the fucking cursed painting, both feel the presence of the finger Sakuna. The red cursed spirit starts jumping away while still looking at Nobara. She's chasing after it and says that it's never going to get away from her if it's doing that. And it says that basically it just doesn't want anyone to see its back. So obviously that's going to happen. You already know Itadori's going to show up and see his back. And immediately Itadori and the green curse both show up and they see his back. And like I said, they not only both appeared in a different area than them from the domain, but apparently the two of them appeared at least near each other because Itadori was still chasing it. Makes no sense. And we see the curse's back, and it has a second face on its lower back. And it's fucking embarrassed by that. It turns around to attack both the curse and Itadori. Nobara finally gets a hit in on it, hitting it in the head. And they're getting ready to fight, and it turns around and uses its curse technique called Death by Wasp, and it like creates big wings out of its back. Then the Juju Stroll is Itadori runs up to Nobara and Gojo and tells them that Fushiguro has a girl hitting on her or him, and they run off. And he says Gojo tells them to get in Formation B, and then they run up and basically pretend that they're all having romantic relations together, and then Fushiguro just tells the girl where the station is because that's all that she wanted to know. And their plan was just to sabotage him if he was going to have anything go on. And he gets mad at them for fucking around and then punches Itadori in the back of the head. The preview looks pretty cool. A lot of fighting. There was a great looking shot of Mahito and Geto, I guess, watching what's happening. Looked pretty interesting. That's a review. Production's still strong. The art and animation's still great. It's still compelling. Again, the fucking power of these characters has grown so fast. I don't see how it's going to continue to be interesting, but I mean, this is still somewhat engaging, so it's nice to see Fushiguro's growth and see the growth of characters. I just don't see how this is going to go longer than 4 seasons, 5 seasons as a series. But that's fine as long as the fights continue to be good. Yeah, I liked how it was handled. Fushiguro's growing on me. The new Demon Dog is definitely a bit more interesting, and seeing Fushiguro actually have to fight is much more interesting. But he's still not like my go-to character for a fight. I'd still prefer to see Nobara or she's a character who hasn't grown yet. She has to grow soon because she's be left behind right now. Her power is not up to par with the rest of them. So she needs some focus here soon to develop a new power, I'm thinking. But yeah, that's my thoughts on episode 23.